All right. A very, very happy Thursday, and welcome to the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel, the TNC Sports Talk Show. My name is Justin. Today is March 19th, 2026, and, I was putting stuff together to find content for this show. I have a couple of things, but I always get fear of not having enough content for the entire hour. And I tried to take my segments a little bit slowly so that I could really emphasize the clarity of my point that I'm trying to make or the information that I'm trying to have. So there's times where there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and I got to speed up the conversations. And that causes me to stumble over words and sentences, and that also causes me to leave out key importance that can naturally flow. But I try really hard to make sure I fit everything in within a logistical hour. And I have a specific reason behind that. I know it sounds silly to say, but when I go into post editing, and if I try to upload anything that's over an hour, I have to break it up. And it makes it complicated, and it takes longer to be able to post. So I try to keep this show within less than an hour so that when I go back into editing, if I go back and I have to go back and download the audio version, then I have to go into another editing software so I could just easily add a few things to it for audio that we upload on Spreaker and the podcasting, on audio platforms. And so if it's over an hour, it becomes a little bit more complicated. So I do try, but I do like to slow things down. So like yesterday, for example, there was a lot to cover. I got to be honest with you. And I felt like I was rushing a lot of it. I don't feel like I really was able to tackle on and say what I really wanted to say about some of the subjects, or I felt like I was rushing it. So if you guys have those moments and you're like listening to me, it's like, what the hell is he talking about? And, he's rumbling through. Let me know. That is something that I do try to emphasize. Now, I don't try to overwork my load, but sometimes there's also moments like today, there's really not a whole lot to get down that's going to fill in an hour. So, just in a moment, I'm going to share with you my bracket predictions. If you haven't entered them in yet, the clock is ticking, right? 10 minutes. 10 minutes. The NCAA brackets first tip-off begins. We'll get through to that. And any predictions you have will not be submitted. So submit your predictions of who you have are going to win. I've already posted mine up on the TNC Sports Talk Facebook page. You guys could check that out. I'll review them here in a moment. We'll talk about the upcoming first games in round one today and tomorrow. And then today's goal is to break down. I'm actually going to break down the Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals season preview. That's today. I know yesterday I mentioned the Pirates. I'm trying to do it alphabetically, but it just, for me, it makes sense because Kansas City and St. Louis is close to each other. And I just wanted to review both of them at the same time. So tomorrow we'll do the Minnesota Twins, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then we'll give you an overall prediction of how the American League, National League, Central divisions are going to finish out in 2026. But hey, we are just literally 8 days, well, not 8 days away, 7 days away, right? 1 week from today, precisely, is opening day baseball for the Cincinnati Reds. The Giants and the Yankees begin opening day next Wednesday, but the Reds play and they will host the Boston Red Sox next Thursday, March 26th. Put it on your calendar. Make yourself available. It's a reason to call off of work, to head out to the Findlay Market Parade, and to enjoy a season of baseball. Whether it's raining, whether it's sunny out, whether the Reds win or lose, it's a good day. You celebrate a tradition. You celebrate something that doesn't get recognized in a lot of states, in a lot of cities. A lot of Major League Baseball teams don't put as much as they do into opening day, where the entire city of Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, Indiana, okay, they don't, it's not a national holiday. Here in Southern Ohio, they make it a national holiday. Some places are closed. Businesses are closed. People call off of work. Kids play hooky from school. I mean, it is a good week beginning next Monday. And as much as I want to win, well, I want to see the Reds back out there again and giving us something good to talk about. It's not going to be all sunshine and roses, but it's going to be a good time. I'll tell you that. All right. So let's get down into business and get you started off with our men's bracket. As I mentioned, I have a couple different brackets I partake in this year. I've actually went through this year and put about 5 or 6 in just to play. I'm an amateur at this. I want to remind you that. I'm not very well educated. I follow certain teams. I try to keep up to date. I've done a lot of reading, and I still feel optimistic that the teams I've selected is going to go the complete different direction. I remember the first year I did the NCAA men's basketball bracket selection, and I completely failed. I fell flat off of my feet. I didn't make it to the final. I don't even think I made it to the Final Four. I don't think I even made it to the Elite Eight in at least one team that I've selected through. I hope that, and that was years ago. I hope that this year is a little bit different. I do feel good about myself. I'll tell you this, because we did watch a good Miami, Ohio beat SMU last night, and they have entered in. But, just as good as Miami, Ohio is going to be, how far do you honestly think that they will make it in this tournament? Their first challenge is coming up tomorrow against Tennessee. And you got those teams. Look, there is 64 teams, and all of them have an equal opportunity. What's so fun and great about the March Madness tournament here, it doesn't matter how you made it in. Doesn't matter how your season turned out. Doesn't matter if you won a conference championship or not. It is all equal. You have the same chances of winning this tournament than all the other 63 teams. Doesn't matter if you're Duke, if you're Siena, if you're Cal Baptist, you have an equal opportunity. And it's only from your success and your fate will determine how far you go in this next few weeks. And I'll tell you, I strongly believe whoever could walk away, if you're an underdog in this team, I know Miami, Ohio is one of the few underdogs in this team that people don't have a lot of expectations with. People don't expect them to go far, if at all. But if you're one of the few teams that are in this tournament just because they've had it in you in. Well, guess what? You have an opportunity not only to write history for the first time, but to make a name for yourself by showing the entire nation that they were wrong for not picking you. So as I sit here, and I'll explain my selections here coming up, but as I sit here, I just want to emphasize that just because I didn't select it doesn't mean that they're not a good team, doesn't mean that they don't deserve to be in the tournament, and it's not going to be, I'm not claiming that it's going to be an easy win. Now, a matchup on paper, yeah, it does sure look like an easy win, but that's not always the case. That's what is fun about college football or college basketball. And that's one thing that if college football could take anything away, I know we expanded recently in the college football playoffs. I want to see it expand more. I want to see the bowl games go back to being something that was worth fighting for, to bring the interest level back to the bowl games. And one of the ways that you do it is by expanding college football playoffs, and it's a spotlight for college football teams to make the playoffs and make a name for yourself, because it doesn't matter what happened throughout the season. All that matters is how you got there. All that matters is what you do from when you get in to the opportunities to getting to that championship. And we saw a little bit of a taste of that this year. All right, so let's begin down in the East in round number 1. We'll kick things off. I have Duke beating Siena. I have TCU upsetting Ohio State. I got St. John's beating Northern Illinois. Is it Northern Illinois or Northern Iowa? See, let me pull that up here. I want to give you the proper information, right? Excuse me. I got Duke. Okay, so I got TCU upsetting Ohio State. And they're getting that first tip off at 12:15, coming up here in just 2 minutes on CBS. I have what do I have here? This is the East, right? Yep. I have South Florida beating Louisville. I have Duke beating Siena. I have Michigan State beating North Dakota State. I also have, I go over here to next day. I have St. John's beating Northern Iowa. I have UCLA beating UCF. And then I also have Kansas beating Cal Baptist in the first round. In the second round, I got UConn. And UConn beating Furman. In the second round, I got UConn beating UCLA. South Florida beating Michigan State. Kansas beating St. John's. And Duke beating TCU. In the Sweet 16, I have Kansas beating Duke. And I have UConn beating South Florida. In the Elite 8, I have Kansas beating UConn, Kansas winning in the Final Four. And before I do that, let me reveal to you what's going on in the South and my predictions on that. In the South, I got Nebraska beating Troy. Now they all change it now. I have Florida beating Prairie View A&M. I have Iowa beating Clemson. Vanderbilt beating McNeese. I have UNC beating North Carolina beating VCU. Illinois beating Penn. St. Mary beating Texas A&M. And Houston beating Idaho. In the round 2, I have Iowa beating Florida, Nebraska beating Vanderbilt, Illinois beating UNC, and I also have Houston beating St. Mary. In the Sweet 16, I have Nebraska beating Iowa. I have Illinois beating Houston. In the Elite Eight, I have Nebraska beating Illinois. I have Kansas City winning and beating Nebraska. Alrighty. Out there in the West bracket, I have Arizona beating LIU, Villanova beating Utah State, Wisconsin beating, man. I that's one thing I don't like is the abbreviations. Some of the abbreviations I can't tell you who's who, with all due respect. I'm looking for Wisconsin here. Then I gotta go back in. I gotta find, all right, where's Wisconsin at? On the schedule, and then see who their opponent is, and be like, oh, there we go. And it should just be clear and day, but it's not. They're facing High Point. I got Wisconsin beating High Point. I got Arkansas beating Hawaii. I got Texas beating BYU. Gonzaga beating Kennesaw. Miami, Florida beating Missouri. And Purdue beating Queens. In the second round, I got Purdue beating Miami, Florida. Texas beating Gonzaga. Wisconsin beating Arkansas. Arizona beating Villanova. In the Sweet 16, I have Arizona beating Wisconsin, Purdue beating Texas. In the Elite Eight, I got Arizona beating Purdue. All right, now down in the Midwest bracket, I got Michigan beating Howard, Georgia losing to St. Louis, Texas Tech beating Akron, Alabama beating Hofstra, Tennessee beating Miami, Ohio, Virginia beating, where is Virginia at? I gotta go through this. Appreciate everyone's patience here. Wright State got Kentucky beating Santa Clara, and I got Iowa State beating Tennessee State. In the second round, I got Michigan beating St. Louis, Texas Tech beating Alabama, Tennessee beating Virginia, and Iowa State beating Kentucky. In the Sweet 16, Iowa State beating Tennessee, Michigan beating Texas Tech. In the Elite Eight, I got Iowa State beating Michigan. I also got Nebraska beating Iowa State, and I got Kansas beating Nebraska, I think, in the NCAA championship. So I posted this on Facebook. I really am intrigued. I would like to hear what you guys think or have to say about now I want to hear what you guys uh, say or think about what's going to happen. It's hard. I mean, I think you can honestly argue a case for anybody and everybody that's in this tournament to win it. And I think if you can name all the winning teams, I know I'm not going to win every game, but it feels good when you can win the points, right? It's a good feeling. But that is my bracket. It's available on our Facebook page. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of it. Let's go over the schedule over the next 2 days. Tip-off just started between TCU and Ohio State. Coming up here and that's on CBS. I'm going to scroll down what else is on CBS later today at 2:50. Following that, this is in the, where is the East region playing out of? Greensville, South Carolina. That's where they're going to be playing out. Yes. So at 2:50, we will see the tip-off between Siena and Duke. And then at 4:05, we're expected to see North Dakota State take on Michigan State. And then at It's a nighttime game. Is there a nighttime game? That's only 3 games, no? Well, that's on CBS. I see the Midwest Division. Hmm. All right, on CBS, we have TCU at Ohio State. At 2:50, we have Siena versus Duke. At 7 o'clock, we have Howard versus Michigan. And at 9:45, we'll have St. Louis versus Georgia. At on True TV at 12:40 tip off, coming up here in about less than 20 minutes, we got Troy and Nebraska. Then at 3:15, we have McNeese versus Vanderbilt. At 7:35, we have Texas A&M and St. Mary. And to wrap things up at 10:10 p.m. tonight, Idaho versus Houston. On TNT at 1:30 this afternoon, we have South Florida taking on Louisville. We have, this is TNT, right? Yep. 4:05, North Dakota State taking on Michigan. And then we have Penn versus Illinois. On TBS tonight, we'll see High Point and Wisconsin tip off at 1:50. We'll see at 4:25 Hawaii and Arkansas. At 7:25, we'll see Texas and BYU. And at 10 p.m., we'll see Kennesaw State versus Gonzaga. So I'm looking at today's matchups and just a couple like element games that I'm like, all right, this is going to be big, huge. Right now, Texas State BYU kind of just pops to my attention right now. I know that this TCU and Ohio State game is going to be big, as it's very close early on. That's kind of what pops out here on a Thursday. Let's roll over into Friday's action. I'll actually give you that tomorrow during Friday's action here. But Kentucky kicks things off on CBS at 12:15 for the Midwest region. So, a lot of matchups there, a lot of great things going, and we are excited for the NCAA tournament. Alrighty, let's go ahead and just continue. Give you a little look around what's going on around sports here, as it's been reported this morning on CBS Sports, ESPN, all around the world, that Lionel Messi has recorded his 900th goal in a combination of with clubs and for the country in his soccer career. He did that in yesterday's action, although the team tied and they ended up being eliminated. He was able to solidify his 900th goal. He ends up becoming the second male player to achieve this accomplishment, as the first one is Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he says about like 960 or something like that. Man, that's a big milestone, I'll be honest with you. And so congratulations to Messi. A great accomplishment. I feel like if they wanted to, 100 more goals, man, how long would that take you to make? Could he make that? Would you like to see him play until he can make 1,000 goals? Gosh. Other news, we'll talk about this for Cincinnati Bengals. Former Cincinnati Bengals linebacker Logan Wilson has announced his retirement yesterday from the NFL. He's retiring at the age of 29, and we wish him the best of luck into the retirement platform. Look, I liked Logan Wilson. I think he was an incredible player. I think, he's definitely helped the Bengals win some very big ball games. Remember the one back in the playoffs a few years ago where he tipped the ball at the goal line and it caused for an interception, and the Bengals ran it back for a touchdown, winning the game and advancing in the playoffs. I don't know the relationship between the Bengals front office and Logan Wilson. I don't really know the reason why Logan Wilson wanted to leave Cincinnati. Maybe he didn't want to go to a team that was willing to win now, right? And that's not my position to honestly to really make assumptions for, but it didn't. I felt bad a little bit when he did go to the Cowboys because the Cowboys weren't going nowhere. And I believe in good talent deserves to win. I feel that Logan Wilson was a good enough talent that he deserves to win. And so, uh, it's for me, it's unfortunate that he didn't get a chance to win games or go back to the Super Bowl. And, it's kind of strange when you see someone at the age of 29 who I think can still play and stay in the league, and he's deciding to step away. Especially a player that you enjoy and you like. It's like, oh man, what has happened? Should we be concerned? You know. So, but Logan Wilson's going to definitely enjoy his retirement. He's going to definitely enjoy whatever he wants to do beyond football life, and with his friends and family, and whatever his future holds, we wish him the best, the absolute best. I read something this morning talking about Obafemi, uh, who we know is going to be facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 42, and it kind of dived into what Oba's plans are for the future, long term retirement. Now, he's already accomplished a lot, right? North American Championship, NXT Championship. He's going to be at WrestleMania as, I'm going to call him a rookie this year, right? The first year in the WWE main roster, you consider yourself a rookie, in my opinion. And he's going to go out there and try to conquer the beast incarnate. Okay, that's the big news this week. And we ask about the future of Boba's career, and it remains optimistic. He wants to have a family, by the time he's 50. Um, and we got to just remind ourselves that these athletes have lives, has families after, the show ends, after the game is done, they go home to these things. A guy who kind of I take to heart a little bit is Jake Fraley, right? His daughter has gone through cancer, just beat cancer not too long ago. And that's a great accomplishment. And the fact that he's capable of being there it is family first, but then he's out there playing the game that he loves. One of another player that I just you just feel for as a person, as a father yourself. You wouldn't want to see your family members or your children to go through that either, and to take that on and to stay positive is such a hard thing to do moving forward. So I do got to ask about the Obafemi situation. I just want to ask, uh, who do we think is going to win? I know we got a little bit of time. We'll definitely get into that in upcoming weeks. But who do we think is going to win? Because I think it would do numbers, solids, to watch, um, to watch Oba conquer the beast. But there's been reports out there indicating that Brock Lesnar is not wanting to lose until his retirement. And there's rumors and speculations that he may be retiring this summer at SummerSlam because it's going to be held in his hometown or something. But I guess does that mean that Brock wins at WrestleMania? And does a lot, listen, a loss at WrestleMania makes, what does that do to either one of the men? I mean, Brock, he's up there in age. Let's face it. He's not in his 30s anymore. He's not in his 20s anymore. He's not conquering, he's not the same Brock that we've seen, even though he doesn't look like he's missed a step. But reality is he's not the same. And but what we saw on Monday is that he's turned over somebody helped a up-and-coming star, and we got ourselves a loud pop out of it, of the arena. Now, if you're still saying that Brock Lesnar is not willing to give back to the company, I don't know what else you're looking for. Brock Lesnar took a power bomb, okay, got picked up above somebody's shoulders and took a power bomb for somebody. This isn't Roman Reigns. This isn't CM Punk. This isn't Seth Rollins. This isn't The Undertaker. Okay? He took a power bomb for a young up-and-coming star. And right now, it may not look like Obafemi is a young up-and-coming star, but he is. He just got to the main roster not too long ago. And he put over, within one move, within 2 minutes, and it was, I'm going to say it, electrifying. So my question is what benefits who more to win at WrestleMania and who doesn't? Now, maybe I'm thinking this the wrong way, but if I'm thinking about who's going to benefit all of this, okay? Oba's the next person in line. This is, for me, a passing on the torch, that you have this big Goliath passing his trophy to the other big Goliath that is going to be in this industry for years to come. No matter what the future holds for Brock Lesnar, at the end of the day, Oba's the younger. He is already liked in the WWE. You could see him as your next WWE or World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, he's going to be on top of the division at some point, just like Brock Lesnar has conquered and dominated the WWE over the past 2 decades. Does that climb continue with Obafemi? Or is this one of those things where you pay your dues, you take a loss, Obafemi, at WrestleMania, but you learn and you take away from it and you get sympathy from the fans so that whoever is going to retire Brock Lesnar when that time comes, whether it's Gunther, whether it's somebody else, you are building Brock Lesnar up as he is still unbeatable. It's one way to look at things. Or do you sit here and do you have Oba win, building his resilience, his power, his strength, showcasing what he's capable of? But if you do that and Brock loses, you're telling the WWE Universe that Brock is not as strong, he is not as intelligent, he is not as powerful, he is declining, as he should be as he gets older, right? Time eventually is virtually undefeated to everybody. And Brock is now leaving WrestleMania as people question what is next for the Beast, as Obafemi gets the flowers. I could see it go both ways, because if Brock Lesnar, even though if we could see Brock Lesnar losing at WrestleMania, there's 2 directions he can go. He can continue to struggle, questioning whether or not he still has what it takes to hang in with the, I'm going to quote unquote, big guys. Or he can be on this carnage of wreckage where he maybe then comes after Oba and destroys him. let's say he even moves on from OBA and he just goes on this carnage of tearing anybody and everybody in his sight, building his momentum back up because he could do that. So, what would best play out for the WWE, for the WWE universe, for whatever the future holds for at least Brock Lesnar, because I know the future is bright for Obafemi. Before we get into the back half of the hour here, I want to just share uh, some information with you. These are not sponsorships. These are just simply promotional conversations, inviting you to check out the things that we also enjoy and we like. It's affiliated with our conversations, our talk shows, and all that fun stuff that comes in between. Um, and it's just our due diligence on our show. Now, if we want to, if people would like to sponsor us and for us to talk to them about their product, then please reach me in one of the comments and we could have that discussion. But I first like to start off by talking about the newly released WWE 2K26 video game, where they have a whole new roster. They have DLC packs. They have all these great attachments, plus a showcase with that takes you through CM Punk's career and matches that you could rewrite history and change the outcome of from what initially happened. I think this is a cool uniqueness that the WWE is bringing, and I encourage those who are wrestling fans and you own a PS4 or PS5 or whatever the game is sold upon, I encourage you guys to buy it. I know my brother has it. He talks to me nonstop about this game. Now, just due to time, and I unfortunately have not gotten my hands on the game. I don't know if I will. It's just one that is, for me, is time consuming. But that doesn't stop me from talking about it because I think highly of the WWE. I think highly of the WWE 2K video games. You could play universe mode. There's new stories align it, as well as a WWE draft a part of it. You can get your video game today by heading over to your Play Store or by going to any of your store. WWE 2K26 is available now. Well, the Major League Baseball season is coming up here in just a week, as we are a week away from opening day. And earlier this week, the MLB The Show 26 was released. To check out their new Road to the Show, Diamond Dynasty, you could play out their franchise mode and rebuild a team to go on to win a World Series. You could do all of that and more in our upcoming game. Now, I'll tell you this. We are just about done. I got my last weekend almost done here when it comes down to our spring training. And then I will be getting the new game, getting you guys set up for our new Major League Baseball season, where some computer plays computer throughout interesting games throughout the season that we think you guys will enjoy. As well, we will be following and playing as the Cincinnati Reds in franchise mode. Now, there's not a lot of interactions. I may try to do a Road to the Show where I can interact with you guys. It's a new territory that I am crossing. But MLB has gone on for years. I've always enjoyed the game. I've always got the game. And I think you guys should get the game too. And so, with the new baseball season coming under your way through your console or at the store, get your MLB The Show 26 and let's play. Let's play baseball together as spring begins this weekend. I am not a sponsor. They are not paying me to talk about this, but I'd like to give a shout out to Riverside.com. Riverside.com is the studio platform that I am using here to broadcast live, to create these videos, whether it's on YouTube. Hi, everyone. And Riverside.com allows you to produce and operate a podcast, a talk show, a business meeting through just clicks of a button that you can see on your screen. You can have multiple guests on your show. or onto your screen at once. And you could also share your screen, your computer, through Riverside. You could use it. It allows you to write scripts and teleprompters and different layouts available for what you're needing to do. Allows you to have a background, have these overlays here as well. You could have music as well, and these, topic uh, contents on each brand. All right. Now, coming up next, we'll talk about the Kansas City Royals. Well, Riverside does a lot more. You can stream that not only to many platforms, they offer a lot more behind the scenes. Because when you're done recording, you could get into a little editing area and do some post editing production, cutting out the filtered words. You can put in captions, photos, overlays, videos. You can enhance voices and add music. It's great, multi purpose. But Riverside takes it up a step as they go in and they pull out magic clips from your video that you could use to post shorter, topical, pointed clips, or you could also use them for shorts. Today's social media is all about shorts. And they pull out minutes of shorts, and you could even go in and edit your own shorts. They make it easy at the expense of your exposure. So, if you guys are looking for your next podcast, you guys are looking for your next talk show, you're looking for your next business meeting, whatever the case may be, if you haven't checked out riverside.com, I would suggest that you check out riverside.com. They have a free trial. And listen, I challenge you to show me something better that provides an all in one exclusive tool. I've been around, I've seen different things, but I have yet to experience that one place that I could do all in one. Riverside so far is that place. So riverside.com for more information. Alrighty. Last thing I want to talk about and bring up before we get into our previews of these two ball clubs that we'll be talking about today. Okay. The Kansas City Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals. If you guys are a T-Mobile customer and you guys know about the perks you get with T-Mobile Tuesdays, well, starting next Tuesday, I believe that is March 24th, for those Major League Baseball fans. Even if you're not a Major League Baseball fan, I still encourage you to go out there and get this. But MLB has teamed up with T-Mobile once again this year to provide out-of-market games through the MLB TV service. You simply redeem the code that T-Mobile offers next Tuesday. You submit the code to T-Mobile, MLB at bats, and you can get all the audio and video audio games around Major League Baseball. You can also get all the actual games to watch that are out of market throughout the course of the 2026 season. Now, I say this, I've been a T-Mobile customer. Like I said, I'm not sponsoring all of this, but I'm just saying that I've been a T-Mobile customer. I've been capturing this, taking advantage of this great deal for years on end. Instead of paying $150, I get it for free. And so if you're a T-Mobile customer, coming up next Tuesday, March 24th, I encourage you to go onto the T-Mobile Tuesday app and get your free MLB subscription today. And that way you could watch opening day. You could also watch any games out there. You can listen to the games on the road, at the gym, in the office, wherever you feel free to get your games, all thanks to the exclusive deal that they have for you today. All right. That's enough promotional talk. Let's get down into business. We want to talk about the Kansas City Royals. The Kansas City Royals finished off last season with an 82-80 record. Okay. Kauffman Stadium, they added in guys like Lane Thomas, Nick Mears, Matt Strom. They did have to depart with guys like Mike Yastrzemski, Jonathan Bolin. Okay. But the Kansas City Royals are looking to improve from last season. If healthy, we have a true Cy Young candidate in Cole Reagans. Chris Bubick brings in that new slider that gives a whole new arsenal in deception. Seth Lugo throws 9 different types of pitches at least, but sometimes he get too cute with it. Michael Walker's another one getting more adorable with age. And so they come in with a good rotation. You got Carlos Estevez as well, who is expected to probably be the closer, big fastball, big saves total with his first year and a 2-year deal. Matt Strom, high strikeouts, lefty, unhappy with the Phillies, looking to pounce back with the Royals. Well, now we look into what the position looks like. We got Jonathan India. He comes in early. He's always, took a little late start last season, but, look, hey, he's always a solid front to the lineup. Bobby Witt Jr., he's going to provide you speed and that glove out there on the infield. Salvador Perez, he's that team captain of this team. And so that the Royals do have themselves a good ball club. Matter of fact, it's so good that even the prospects look pretty good. We got Carter Jensen, that young catcher. Okay. Jensen, you know, debuted in 2025 and showed high exit velocity, the ability to discern balls and from strikes and a big power. Even impressed the organization in his ability behind the plate. David Shields, beyond his age, is a fastball that ticks back up to where it was after he was drafted. His profile has a legitimate mind rotation starter. He has 2 above average breaking balls and shows proficiency in for pitching. Let's not forget about Kendry Churio, another young pitcher. Okay. He has a big fastball, can touch upper 90 sharp curveball as well. A young top team that's looking to continue to rise. We saw the Tigers do it. Let's see the Royals back into the mix. Bobby Witt Jr. It's probably your best bet to stay with throughout the season. Chris Bubick, all right, he looks like a breakout star, but before his shoulder barked last year, we'll see how that affects this year. And, hey, Jack Calano struggles in his MLB debut last season, but his massive raw power, aggressive swing makes him a prime in the low candidate for anyone willing to be patient. The Kansas City Royals has some promising perspectives coming from their team. I think that they will finish off in second place of the division behind the Detroit Tigers. I feel like they have a good run. Okay. It's going to be staying healthy, keeping the progressiveness going throughout the course of the year, making sure they're making the right moves and changing when things need to be changed. Well, I think that they have a chance to at least compete for a wild card position. So I got them in second place competing for the wild card. The St. Louis Cardinals are the other team on this preview list that I have for you guys today. They finished off 78 and 84. Despite a team who really took a shift in from a competitive team to a team that needed a desperate rebuild. We saw a lot more of that this year. Now, a lot of people may say, hey, it's going to look ugly before it looks worse. And the question is have we seen the most ugliest part of the St. Louis Cardinals, or is there more to come? They're starting to open up their payroll by trading away players. They did ended up trading away Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, uh, Michaelis. They also traded away, excuse me. Then they trade away Nolan Arenado as well. So they're opening up their payroll. They did bring in Dustin May, Hunter Dobbins, and Richard Fitz. Brendan Donovan, subject to persistent trade rumors. Spot could go. Uh, you also got Pedro Paguez. Lars Newbar came up and take the rake as a lefty in the hole with his swings. Victor Scott. All right. Wraps on the side under the name Arjo. Center field defense outstrips the flow. There's really not much excitement. You're going to find young household names that you're looking to build upon. If they can make a star out of them, then great. Yeah, Matthew Liberatore, lefty, great, gets his out and pitchability rather than his power. Okay. You got Richard Fitz, who came over from Boston in the Sonny Gray deal as a starter. Dustin May and another frontliner starter, potential still there. Maybe more of a reliever mix. But, look, here's where we got to look at. Matthew Liberatore's fastball gets crushed whenever he leaves it over the plate. Low ceiling, fantasy, options, best suited in the back of the rotation. But what about Brandon Donovan? High floor accumulator who won't win you a league, but does more to most help everyday players. He's a great asset in there. And then let's look at the Cardinals prospects. JJ Ritholt looking maybe the position of making his major league start this year at some point. Liam Doyle, a left-handed pitcher, first-round pick last summer, looking to move up quickly. Could reach the majors by the end of the season. Would probably expect to see him down in September unless injuries prevail. Raniel Rodriguez, the catcher from Dominican Republic, spent a chunk of his childhood in the United States. Rare combination of skills, maturity for a teenager catcher in this prospects to look him up. The St. Louis Cardinals, I don't expect to go anywhere. I feel like this is a multi-year process. I see that the Cardinals will probably, if not finish in last place. For 78 wins, do you think that the Cardinals will finish above 78 or below 78? I feel about a 74 to a 76. The bottom line is that even with a 70-plus win season, I mean, that's still pretty good compared to what the rest of the division is going to hold. You think about that in comparison to last year, 78. Then you had for last place last year, they also, and then you have the Reds who finished off in third and made the wild card. That's not far off. So they may be taking another step back. We're not looking at a 60-win season. I still think there's still a lot of integrity in the way that the Cardinals play baseball. Alrighty, I want to wrap things up with talking a little bit about Cincinnati sports. The Cincinnati Reds have also, let me pull this out real quick. Have some television deals. If you're not looking into getting yourself the Reds TV subscription, I know that's something that I will be looking into. But if you're not, so it's $99. You get all out of market. You get the marketable games. You get every game on the MLB TV Reds subscription for $100. I don't think that's a bad deal. I'll be able to watch the Reds this year and be able to give you more in depth. Something we will have the Reds on it just in the background as we do things in the evening times. But Fox 19 has agreed to host 13 of those games as previews. So here is that schedule for the Fox 19 game schedule for 2026. At 4 p.m. next Thursday, Boston, they will be holding the Reds and the Red Sox on opening day. Then on April 20th, the Reds will be in Tampa Bay to take on the Rays. That first pitch is at 6:40. Then they have a couple exclusive Saturdays deals on Fox Sports. On April 25th, the Detroit Tigers for the Hall of Fame game. That first pitch is at 7:15. On May 4th, they will be in Chicago to take on the Cubs. That first pitch is at 7:40. On Monday, on May 18th, against the Philadelphia Phillies on the road. That first pitch is at 6:40. May 23rd is a Saturday against the St. Louis Cardinals. They'll follow up with another Saturday game against the Atlanta Braves at home. Both games will start at 7:15. The rest of the season will begin on Mondays. On June 1st against the Kansas City Royals. On June 8th at the San Diego Padres. On June 15th against the New York Mets. On July 20th at Seattle against the Mariners. On August 31st against the Padres at home. And on September 14th against the Dodgers at home. Those times are varied between 6:40 and 9:40 p.m. You can check Fox 19 now for all that information about the Reds schedule. But, yet again, I impose maybe you guys also, if you're a T-Mobile fan, look, for $100, you get think about this, especially the Reds games, for $99. What a deal is that? That is a really good deal, if you ask me. So, for what would be typically valued at without out of market games for $150, you just get that for $99. Let's not pass that up. But that is our time for you guys today. We'll give you highlights and talk with you about what we've seen so far in the what's it called? In the March Madness tournament. Like I said, I'm interested in seeing who you guys have go all the way. I'm interested to see how long I'm here in the tournament, who's winning, who's losing, who's making it to the next round. Coming up tomorrow, we will wrap up our preview of the Central with the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Minnesota Twins. We'll follow that up with the overall perspective of where we feel every team is going to finish in the league. As well as getting you guys ready for SmackDown as the road to WrestleMania continues, and we'll get you guys ready for the final weekend of spring training for the Cincinnati Reds. We'll also get you guys ready for Major League Cincinnati Bearcats baseball and much more as sports continues to roll around. Well, that's all the time we have for you guys today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Have those notifications on so you don't miss a single episode. If you guys are following us, if not, please follow us on our social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and more. We are also available on our audio platforms, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. If we're not on it, you let us know. We will get ourselves on it. We will be back tomorrow to wrap up another week here in March. But until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and you guys take care. Have a great rest of your day. So long.